Hello everybody, so I just want to show you an effective way to transfer things that you already know into a different environment. So we're going to be taking things that we apply normally in bebop and we're going to put them into modal jazz. So modal jazz is notable because its chords, or the chords of modal jazz tunes or modal tunes, tend to generally not have the functional relationships that we see in standards. So you don't see 2-5-1 so much. For instance, the first tune we're going to do, Impressions, just has two chords. It's D minor, basically D minor 11, D minor 7, that kind of thing, for 16 bars, goes up a half step, not a functional relationship, to E flat minor, and then back down to D minor again. And these are the same changes as So What by Miles Davis, it's just that the tune's a bit faster. So if you were to take the schoolbook route of this, we would probably play D Dorian, E flat Dorian. D Dorian. So there I'm just using like the basic Dorian modes and a couple of pentatonic ideas. But, you know, this is not the same thing that I would play on, say, rhythm changes. So the question I always ask myself when doing this kind of thing is, how can I take what I already know and apply it? And there's two things I would like to present to you as ideas on impressions, or any modal tune, but you can probably think of more, that we can take from bebop and put into this context so we can start playing our stuff that we spent so many hours practicing. So I'm going to assume that you have some language either that you can play on static dominant chords, and that you might also have some language that you can play on 2-5-1s, and we're going to apply them to this. So the first thing that I would say is like, let's take our dominant language. So hopefully you might be learning things like this, you know. You know, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff, you know, which is really the kind of meat and potatoes of bebop, if you like. So how do we apply that to a minor chord? Well, in fact, we already have this concept that I've introduced in a few videos, but I'll reintroduce here because it's so important, called the family of four. And the family of four just unites the four different chord colours together in a relationship. So you have the D minor 7. Now most people want to know the 2-5 relationship with the G7, right? From the 2-5-1. Now we also have a relationship between the G7, if I play an if I play a B minor 7 flat 5 chord there, and you play a G underneath it, you get a G9. Okay, so whatever B minor 7 flat 5 chord you play over a G, you'll get a G9. And the B minor 7 flat 5 is also related to the D minor 6. It's the same chord in a different inversion. So you have that link. So we've got D minor, B half diminished, G7. But we also have F major, because of the sus sound, F major over G. Gives us that. And that could be a major 7, right, too. Okay? So the major 7th, that has a Lydian tinge because our scale that relates that, the G7 scale, or G mixolydian, has a B in it. So we have that sound there. So all of that means that we can play, if we know some G7 language, we can play it on D minor. So there you go. I was using a little bit of modal language as well, but it sort of really works very well, I think, that kind of thing. That's quite a nippy tempo as well. So the other thing, quite simply, is just to add in, you know, 2-5-1s. So you can take that isolated D minor chord and just treat it as if it's a standard minor chord. That works fine. Because mostly when you resolve to a D minor chord, you're resolving to notes that are in the Dorian mode, or perhaps in a melodic minor. So you won't be doing anything that creates too many waves against that vamp. Again, that C sharp should be wrong, but it sounds great, in my opinion. So if I basically also make sure that I play a big 2-5-1 into that E flat minor chord when it comes along, that also sounds really good. Like that. Sounds really good. Okay, both things together. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Little Sunflower. Little Sunflower is good because it has 3 chords, so it has D minor, E flat major, D major, okay? And for the D minor, we already know what to do on that. Now for the E flat major, we can take our cycle and see how it relates to an F major chord. So if we have D minor 7 flat 5, G7, F major, that whole step between F major and G7 means that we can make the same relationship for an E flat major 7th and play a whole step up, which is F major 7th. Sorry, F7, beg your pardon. So E flat major, okay, and then we can do the same thing on D major. We can play our beautiful E dominant 7th. So that will sound something like this, I'll give you that kind of Lydian tonality over the top. We can also play our 2-5-1s in there as well, as we would normally for a tune. 2-5-1. That's D minor. G7. E minor, it's F minor, F7, sorry. No, in there as well. Okay, so hopefully you can hear that sounds really good. And it allows us to use some chromatic ideas that we might never otherwise consider for major. Like for instance, playing over, this, playing that sort of advanced added note scale over the top of the E flat major is kind of really interesting. And it's not a sound you hear so much, I don't think. So the next tune I'm going to play is Song for Bilbao by Pat Metheny. This is another non-functional tune. The first bit goes C7 sus, so we're going to play C's dominant scale over top of that. Then we go to a G flat major sharp 11th, so using our family of 4 relationship, we go up a whole step and we have the A flat 7 there, right? I'm going to play the A dominant over the G flat major, okay? Then we've got a bridge. I mean, mostly triads for this bit. It's kind of quite fast. Okay, back to that. So we're not going to worry too much about middle 8 for these purposes. C7. Okay, A7, A flat 7, sorry. And so on, right? So I'm just using triads over the hard bit. It's going to become a bit of a theme with me. So hopefully you can also hear that I'm like playing 2-5-1s into those as well. So I'm going, you know, C7 for instance, I'm going I might play a 2-5-1 into the A flat 7. And then, you know, so on, right? So that can help smooth over the differences between the chords and really give your playing a sense of coherency. So the last one I'm going to look at is inner urge. Now, inner urge has got an easy bit and a hard bit. So we're going to look at the easy bit. The hard bit we're going to play with triads, basically. You know, in that very naive way. Or there's a pentatonic hack for it, where you just play descending pentatonic, starting on C sharp, minor pentatonic. Okay, so that works as well. I'm not really concerned with that bit so much. The reason why I've chosen inner urge is because of the first half diminished chord in it. We've got an option, we can play D7 there, because that relates to the F sharp half diminished chord, or we can play A minor, play an A minor 2-5-1 or something. Then moving on, we've got F major, which can relate to G7, E flat major, which can relate to F7, D flat major, which can relate to E flat 7. You know, or you can relate them to their relative minors. Either works. So I'm going to use a fusion of these techniques now, and this is what it sounds like. Play 2-5-1 for the next one. Okay, so right. So you can hear how the pentatonic hack works as well. Anyway, that's how you modal jazz. Of course, it's not the only way to do it, and in fact, what I would say is whatever techniques you learn, we become joined up players who are able to apply our language freely in all kinds of different situations. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you find that useful.